Hello and welcome friends to today's hip mobility session where we will be working on our hip joints mostly, but also on our knees and ankles in combination to build some strong as limber and flexible hips. So if you're ready, we'll get into it right now. Starting out really easy as always and building some intensity over time. Bring your feet together, pull them in closer, and we're gonna start out with a really relaxed butterfly stretch, a dynamic one. Now, depending on your mobility, your feet might be at the front here, your feet might be really close here, or you might be asymmetrical depending on your mobility in one side as opposed to the other. I have a meniscus tear, so my right leg is gonna have a little bit less range of motion than the other one. Totally fine. Over time, this is gonna get better. You can pull your feet closer and closer over time. Stay right before the pain threshold of that stretch and try and actively push down your knees towards the ground. Now we're gonna do this for a couple of more seconds before we move on to the next exercise. So if you're ready, we're gonna extend both legs and we're gonna start by pulling in and extending and putting it down. Now we're using our hip flexors and our quadriceps when pulling it in and extending. Take a short static hold and switch it up. Extend, down, pull in, extend, down. You can either lean backwards with your upper body depending on your lack of strength in your abs if you need to compensate for that, or if you do not, you can just sit upright and work actively using your core as well. Now, one more repetition for the right side and we're moving to double legs. Now, just a handful of repetitions because they are a little bit more exhausting and we have a lot of exercises still to go. So 2 more reps. Rep number 2, final rep, hold and down. Now, next exercise is going to be a little bit harder. So again, depending on your mobility, you do not have to do the full movement. It would be, however, very beneficial if you can. We're going to pull in our leg like so and switch seating positions from the ground to our foot before we reverse the movement and turn to the other side. Now, just for the right leg, I have to help out a tiny bit because of my knee pain, but other than that, we're gonna try and do this without compensating for a lack of core strength. Sit back down, extend, pull in, and switch to a seated position on the foot. And we're gonna repeat this once more, a handful of times. There you go. You noticed if you are not careful when switching sitting positions, you might fall over. We need a lot of core strength for this one. Hop, sit back, hop, sit back, and we got 2 more repetitions, 1 for each side. Switch to the left, extend, switch to the right, extend. There you go. And moving on to the next exercise, we're going to increase our range of motion and how many moving parts we have in the exercise to make the movement more complex and require more strength and build more endurance. If you are ready, same starting position. We're gonna go here once more, and instead of just sitting up, we want to push forward into a hip flexor stretch and a quadricep stretch. Reverse the movement and switch it to the other side. We're gonna sit up here, we're gonna push forward, extend our quads and even our lower abdominals for a short stretch. Sit back, sit down, extend, switch it up, other side, push forward, reverse, both moves, pull in and push forward. We've got 1 more repetition for each side, and then we're gonna move on to a little bit of a more complex and intense exercise. There you go. Do the last repetition for the right side. Move over, push into a hip flexor, stretch, reverse, sit down, and reverse. All right, now just relax a little bit. Take a couple of deep breaths, maybe take a static stretch to the left side. 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. Switch it up to the other side. The shortest of static stretches for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's time for full rotations. This is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to pull in from the side, both legs, move up, switch them to the other side, and extend them again. So we're doing full rotations, of course, into both directions. Extend, pull in, using your core strength, switch, sit down to the other side, extend, and it's time to reverse our movement to the other side. There you go. Pull in sideways, sit up, sit down, extend, pull in, sit up, sit down, and extend. We've got one more rep for each side. There you go. Hop, turning right side and turning into the left direction. There you go. Hop. All right. Now we did earn a short little break in which I will be showing the next exercise before we do it together. Now, for this one, you need to be able to get into a deep squat position. Now, over time, if you've been to this channel before, then you have learned to get into a deep squat position from basically any seated or standing body starting position. If you have not, however, then it might be the case that you lack a little bit of mobility to get this deeply into a squat. It might be your gastrocnemius, your soleus, or your Achilles tendon, meaning your heels are going to slowly raise the deeper you go down, or you might just lack a little bit of core strength to stay relaxed in this position. Whatever it is, over time it's going to get better. So get into your starting position, a deep squat, and we're going to start out with middle knee touches to the middle from the right side, to the middle from the left side. Now, if you do have enough core strength, we can add the slightest bit of strength component to this workout by bringing our hands behind our knees. We've got the knee touches to the middle, just a handful of times, and then we're gonna touch to the outside, meaning we're gonna move forward, roll over our ankle and our toes, reverse the movement, start on the other side, and repeat. So there you go. Rep 3, rep 4, rep 5, rep 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10, and let's hold statically down here, because I just need to remind you that it doesn't really matter if you're keeping up my speed or not. You can see the exercises and you can do them at your own pace. If you can keep up the speed, very nice. You're gonna have a little bit of an endurance component as well. If you cannot, just stop, pause the video, do a couple of repetitions, and move on to the next exercise, which is what we're gonna be doing now. Again, hands behind your head. If you do have the core strength to bring your knees almost to the ground, roll over your toes, and reverse into a deep squat by bringing your heels fully to the ground. So one more time, hold for half a second, pull in, and we're going to repeat this again for number 4, rep number 5, up, rep number 6, and 7, and finally rep number 8. We're going to hold for up. See, that's what happens when you don't concentrate. We're gonna do this again. My fault, though you are here, so you're gonna do it with me. We're gonna hold at the lowest possible point for us for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse. Still starting out in a deep squat position. We've got internal rotation on one side and external hip rotation on the other side. Bring your foot down on the ground because we want to stretch out our tibialis when we extend our ankle. And we're going to use our core strength one more time to slide to the other side. external, internal rotation. Use your hip flexors and your abdominals to switch directions. We're gonna turn in our lumbar spine as well to have a little bit more rotational mobility in our spine. And we're gonna repeat this 2 more times. So there you go. 1 more time to the left side. 1 more time to the right side. Because now we're gonna start increasing the range of motion, including our upper body, pulling in close to the ground, sitting up. Now we have a lot more lumbar and even thoracic rotation in our spine. Rep number 3 on this side. Rep number 4, of course, on the other side. And we have 1 more for the left. We've got 1 more for the right. And we had a lot of core inclusion today, which is an amazing benefit to any mobility workout. We're missing 2 more exercises and then we're basically done for today, and we need to switch starting position into an extended leg on one side and a bent one on the other side. If you know this exercise, you've seen the Cossack squat before. The classic Cossack is basically just sitting down on one side and switching squat positions into a deep squat from one direction to the other. The only thing that we're going to do differently is pushing our hips down while switching and trying to use as much of our range of motion as possible. So if you cannot Cossack squat, then you can switch from here. If you, however, can move down all the way, I want you to push down, at the very least, touch down with your leg fully. If possible, bring your knee down, and we're gonna switch it up really low from one side to the other into the complete movement. Knee on the ground, leg on the ground, foot up, pull your toes in. We want to keep that extra stretch in our soleus and gastroc, and we're going to move it up again. You're going to require a lot of core strength. You can even move down sideways like so and bring your foot down. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on pushing our hips low to the ground when switching, and you can once more compensate for any sort of lack of strength or mobility by using your hands to help out a little bit. Let's turn this here and there. We got 2 more reps. Rep number 1 and rep number 2. And we can move to our final exercise, which is going to be a static one because this was really exhausting and we have earned a short little break for us. Let me take this into my hand because I'm gonna have to switch positions 1 more time. We're gonna sit with our feet open for enough space to bring our butt down to the ground, which is very important because we wanna have that external rotation in our knee. We're gonna move into hip stretch level number 1, which is basically just pushing your hips forward. Take a deep breath in. And if you can, we're gonna move into level number 2, down on our knees, and we're actively pushing our hips up. Take a deep breath. If you can, breathe out, move into level number 3, all the way down to the ground. You can extend both arms above your head. Take a deep breath in. And if you can, we can move into level number 4. Push not only your hips, but your knees up for more stretch in our quadriceps added to our lower abdominals and the points of our hip insertions. 3, 2, 1. And bring your knees down, sit up. And we have earned a very, very short break of 3 to 4 seconds by just sitting forward. That's basically the entire follow along deep squat and hip mobility workout for today. We had pretty much all the joints included that are responsible for our lower body mobility, and now you should at the very least feel a little bit more limber and able to get into a deep squat position, at least for today. If this was your first time, be sure to like and subscribe and check out the rest of the channel because we have new videos every single day. Captain Cairo, peace out.